So now we're coming down. This is our plumeria. The story of our plumeria is that there was a beautiful plumeria tree with my favorite color combination. It's sort of fuchsia crossing over into orange. And it was in where we used to live in Caracas. There was sort of a little triangle of dirt that where it was planted. And then they came and they bulldozed it because they were creating a boulevard there. It was stupid the way they did it. And they just left that tree lying there. So we went and we salvaged cuttings, and plumeria grows really well by cuttings. And so this plumeria here and that one there are both cuttings from that tree that was bulldozed to the ground in Caracas. So we saved it basically, and has beautiful, beautiful flowers. And we have another one in front of the house planted as well. So here we are, we're back to the Ortanique, and now we're entering the second row of the food forest, passing the strawberry guava. Here's a toronjil, which is lemon balm. Wow, is that invasive. And here I have dill, which I'm trying to naturalize. I think I have, though. This came up by itself. So I want dill to sort of include itself in our weed regimen. Here, our weed regime. So this is a, what is this in English? Starfruit. This is a seedling starfruit that is of the small sour variety. It's delicious when you dip it in sugar. It's actually totally addictive when you dip it in sugar. We haven't had any fruit from this one yet. This has been damaged badly twice in forest fires, so I'm waiting to see. Maybe this coming year this will flower for the first time, hopefully. And coming over here, we have azai, the Brazilian superfruit that was all the rage for a little while. This one hasn't fruited, but it is creating babies. There's a baby. And there's another baby behind it, which at some point we'll probably take out. But anyway, at any moment this could fruit, because this is of the variety that fruits at a much, it's not the wild variety, it's the cultivated variety. So coming along, here are some Sesbania, that's self-sowed, which we like. Here's a coffee tree that I cut down to the base, thinking that I was trying to take it out because it was fungus prone, and you can see it still is fungus prone. And the fruit is also fungus prone. There. See that one that has lost its fruit? Take it out. Pick it. That's what happens when you get the fungus on the fruit. Are we going to focus on that? Well, whatever. Anyway, so it came back on its own, and I basically just said, well, you're on your own, kid. If you make us fruit, I'll harvest it, but I'm not going to really take care of you. And so that's what's happening. Harvesting the fruit, but not really giving it much attention. Here is my precious jackfruit tree, which is now 2 heads taller than me at its tallest point. And this is a big deal because it was burnt to the ground. I mean, literally to the ground in the last fire we had. And this jackfruit is actually 3 jackfruits. Anybody who's read the blog, I already wrote all of this down, but I'm saying it again out loud. And it came from seeds that a very generous man in India sent me, unbidden. He just offered them to me and sent them to me for free. And he said it's from a really good variety, and they tend to come not true to seed really, but very much like the mother. So fingers crossed that it's actually that way in this case. Anyway, the 3 seeds came already sprouted, and the roots were all tangled up together, and I didn't want to damage the roots by trying to separate them, so I just planted them like they were one tree. So this is really 3 trees playing like they're one. So high hopes for this. I actually told the man that what had happened with the fire, and he said that next year it still could possibly fruit, but if not next year, then the year after. Here we have ginger, which is starting to brown, partially because we're getting close to the dry season, but also partially because it's getting too much sun right now. There's not enough shade. When I planted it, it was in shade. Like the jackfruit, for instance, was part of what gave it shade. There, it's flowering. But we have, you can see all these weedy plants here. That, there we go. It's much, much better. Here's more ginger, more pigeon pea that we planted just now, recently. Here's more ginger. You can see maybe there's some wild tomato there that come up. Here's another coffee tree that refused to die and it's coming back. Maybe next year it will fruit and we'll see how it does with the fungus. This is a nispero or sapadilla. This is one we planted, unlike the ones over there by the house, which are monstrous, which have been there for like 20 years. This one doesn't look that great right now, and I don't know why. The leaves are yellower than they should be, I think, and I have no idea. This is the first time it's shown these symptoms, so we'll just have to keep an eye on it and see what it does. But it hasn't fruited yet, so we don't know how the fruit is. It's from seed, from fruit that we ate when we planted the seed. So we don't know how that's going to be. Here's more pigeon pea. And I had planted some squash here. Oh, there, you can see the remnants of it. It got hit by fungus and it's dying. Here is what was supposed to be a Valencia orange tree and is clearly not a Valencia orange tree. It is a navel, probably a California navel. This tree you can see is growing, or was growing, completely sideways. Looks like it's in a permanent heavy wind going that way. And that was because of shade coming from limoncillos up there, and also that tree there you can see that got cut off, and this tree here that also got cut off, and I cut them off, and now it has sun for the first time on this side and is starting to show its appreciation by putting out some new growth on this side. So that's pretty cool. Moving along. Now, this is the end of our original. There's the end of the first level from below it, right? End of the vetiver. This was our last planted tree on the original property. And now we turn this way and we're facing the house, and there in the background, there, you can see the property that's behind the house. And this is our newer food forest coming in. And you can see above the planting, it's like zone 5, as in wild, untouched. All we do is hack back at it to make sure that the trees that we planted are not in the shade. And then on this side going down, also grass, pretty much pure grass, and well, actually some foresty type species starting to come up from where the fires have passed through. So this is our first planting here since we bought the house. This is a how is it in English? Pollock avocado. It's one of the sort of classic West Indian, tropical varieties of avocado, the kind that like the humid weather rather than the dry California type weather. It's a nice, big, pear-shaped fruit, and I'm excited to have this one, hoping that maybe next year this one will put a fruit on. Maybe it'll take another year to get there. This one is a choquette, which is the same as the huge trees we have behind the house. So we have one more of those. And here we are coming along. See all the wildness everywhere. We just maintain this pathway and the trees for now, and then we'll keep expanding little by little. This is a pomelo. In Venezuela, they call it a toronja. It's that really huge, it looks like a huge grapefruit. The skin is really, really thick. The pith inside is really, really thick. The peel, that's what we'd say. Peel is really, really thick. And the fruit is really sweet. Similar to a grapefruit, but without the bitterness. So we'll see how that one is. I don't know how the variety is they sell here. Irwin mango. It's a Florida variety, along with the Hayden. Pretty much one of the only grafted varieties here. I think there's like 3. This is one of them with the Hayden, and I don't know what the other would be. And it doesn't have the fiber that the Hayden has, but on the other hand, I think the flavor is less intense, probably a little more insipid. So it's not considered to be a great mango, but it's what there is here, so we planted one. At some point in the future, maybe we'll top work it. And this is a rootstock, a mango rootstock. That was the last thing we planted here. Getting a little too much shade for its preferences, but for now it'll be okay. Someday, of course, we'll graft it. So now you can see from here, this is just a pathway that goes over through a bunch of wildness, and then there's the house, right? There. And so, we'll turn back around, passing all this wildness again. And that's what it looks like entering the food forest, coming from the house. So there you go, a little brief tour of zone 2, 3, 4, 5 away from the house at Casa Yala.